All right, another loaded grok. This time we're talking about Ilhan Omar. People are up in a tizzy because she was, I'd say, not too polite about Charlie Kirk after he died. So here, let's just go straight to the tape.
For sure, is that, Charlie was someone who once said, guns save lives after a school shooting. Charlie was someone who was willing to debate and downplay the death of George Floyd in the hands of Minneapolis police.
I think he called him a scumbag.
Right, have no regard, downplay slavery and what Black people have gone through in this country by saying Juneteenth should never exist. And I think there are a lot of people who are out there talking about him just wanting to have a civil debate.
Complete rewriting of history.
Yeah, there is nothing more effed up, than to completely pretend that his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence for the last decade or so. And you have people like Nancy Mace who constantly harass people that she finds inferior and wants them not to exist in this country or ever. And you have people like Trump who has incited violence against people like me. And so, these people are full of shit, and it's important for us to call them out while we feel anger and sadness and have, empathy, which Charlie said, no, it shouldn't exist because that's a newly created word or something. Like, I have empathy for his kids and his wife and what they're going through because I do not want that.
No one should go through that, and we hold ourselves, I hope, to high standards.
And we consider you and I as people of deep faith. And our faiths are based on grace and mercy, which is empathy. And we want, for people not to dance on our grave because that is not what our faith teaches us. We want to be able to mourn and pray. For
but the problem is the politicizing is being done by politicizing is being done by the right. Like this is always my problem when a public figure dies and people say you shouldn't say anything negative. I'm happy to not say anything negative and let the family mourn. But it's when everyone else tries to kind of do a whitewashing of who that person was. So obviously it was inexcusable to use violence against Charlie Kirk and to kill Charlie Kirk. No one supports the killing of anyone for their speech. But then the idea that Donald Trump now says Presidential Medal of Freedom, flags at half-mast, is the same Donald Trump who didn't even show up at the funeral for Representative Melissa Hortman, who was killed in the summer, and her husband didn't make, mocked Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, tried to blame him for the killing. Like, those kind of people, as you say, are full of shit, and we reserve the right to call them out, even at a time of tragedy and tension.
Okay, yeah, I've had that 1 1/4. Ilhan Omar just speaks too slowly. Okay. So she said that this was a couple days ago. So it was, not very long after Kirk had passed. And she basically just came out and she said, I'm not doing this thing where I pretend like he's a nice guy. And then she rattles off all these things that most of them I'm certain he didn't say. The empathy thing, I don't know. Maybe he said that. I can't. That just seems like another weird fight is the word empathy. Anyway, so the House, in this wave of no one's allowed to say anything negative about Charlie Kirk or anything other than straight mourning his murder, which of course normal people wouldn't try to dance on his grave, as they said. But the Republicans go, okay, we're going to censure Ilhan Omar, which is an official thing. Basically, the House would call her out, said you did a bad thing, a bad thing, but also would strip her from all of her committee assignments, and then they'd be able to put someone else, probably not a Democrat, on those committee seats. So there is something to be lost if you're Omar or the Democrats. So they had a vote today, or yesterday, they had a vote, and she narrowly avoided censure, and that it was voted 214 to 213 not to censure, okay? And, because I guess it's just basic majority. And so you go, okay, well, I guess the will's not there. But then you go, hey, wait, it is a Republican House. And so I guess there was a few members of the GOP who voted not to censure. Nancy Mace was not one of them. There was Mike Flood of Nebraska, Jeff Hurd of Colorado, Tom McClintock of California, and Cory Mills of Florida. Cory Mills is an interesting guy. Have we talked at all about what he's been up to?
I don't think so.
So he came in as kind of this, like, I'm a tough guy, former military. I have a weapons company now. I've got my cool beard. And, like, this is him. There you go. That's him with his tough guy beard. But, yeah, he kind of acts military, talks tough and all that. People looking into him, ends up he may have lied about serving altogether. He might not be, or maybe not altogether, but he served, but he said he was a sniper, but he never actually went to sniper school, never got certified. He lied a lot of times about his experience, and some places he got caught along the way where they go, okay, well, we just need to test you, or you just bring in your papers, and then you're cool. You don't have to do all this stuff. And so he just would, like, no show and just, like, not show up for the job anymore. And then he's also, a super religious guy, Christian guy. Then you go, so he got the person that performed his wedding ceremony, because he served in the Middle East for a while, and so he was married to a woman of Middle Eastern descent. But the person that married him runs a pretty rabid or a controversial mosque with ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. So it's one of these clerics or whatever, I don't know the proper term, but this clergy person who is, who gets watched by our intelligence agencies for his connection with known terrorists. And so you go, okay, man. So you got, and he goes, well, they just said, say these words and get married. We want to respect our culture and all that kind of stuff. And you go, like a top flight, this top flight Muslim Brotherhood type clergy guy, I would just go, oh, you don't have to believe it. It's fine. Just say the words. I'm happy to put my name on it. So that's kind of suspicious. And then he used to have the rosary tattooed on his arm, like rosary beads tattooed on his arm. And he covered that up with, I think, Archangel Michael or something like, or Gabriel. I don't know. An angel. I forget which one. But that angel is also big in Islam. And so these different things, it's like, well, look at this. It proves how Christian I am. People go, well, actually, that's, a big thing in Islam, and you did cover up like a cross and stuff to do that. And so it's like, okay, so you got married by an imam, or whatever the clergy's called, I forget. Let me see, it's probably in here real quick. Hold on, a cleric. So he got married by a radical Islamic cleric at Dar al-Hilraj Islamic Center in Falls Church, Virginia, which has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Since then, he's also gotten in trouble because he started dating another girl, also Middle Eastern origins, and he kept it real secret as he was divorcing his wife or whatever. And so she called the cops or whatever to say that he had whooped her, had punched her, something like that. Later, she goes, no. I take it all back. I take it all back. No charges, But I think there was yet another girl during that, maybe in Florida. Yeah, in Florida, he was dating like a model type girl, like a Miss Florida type person. And they didn't know about each other until it hit the news. And then she was like, hey, bye, Well, when she tried to say bye, he was like, hey, man, I got pictures and I got videos. It'd be a shame if that ends up on the internet. And so, she reported it as revenge porn. Florida's got laws about that, but it's kind of a sticky thing, and that's something about, like, recording people and all that kind of stuff. But either way, he started threatening her with, sextortion. And so the Democrats want to censure him. And what ended up happening was Axios reported that House Democrats were pushing a retaliatory censure against Mills unless Omar's was tanked. Greg Kassar of Texas, who filed the censure against Mills, later confirmed to Axios that he now intends to withdraw it. So this ended up being the deciding vote on censuring Ilhan Omar, and he votes don't do it. Magically, his goes away as well. And just for fun, it seems like they have the same religion. So I don't know. Cory Mills is an interesting cat, and he seems to be doing some sort of Manchurian candidate, whatever stuff here. So he's a fun guy to keep an eye on, and he's from Florida, so he's one of ours. So that's people are upset about Ilhan Omar. She's piece of crud, but there's pieces of crud on the other side of the aisle too.